what I've done is I've got the board with the fins off on the floor just to show you the basics of the board. This is one of the longer touring boards, but the air stick boards, the blue ones, are very similar. They're just a bit rounder and shorter. So this is the bow, the front of the boat, and you've got the stern here with the elastic. So what I'm going to talk to you about very quickly is how to get on the board, where to stand, and the very basics of the board. The inflation holders here make sure that the dial, the cap is on here and stops anything from getting into the valve, especially sand. If that sand gets into that valve, it might leak, so that's a good thing. Another important one, when you're carrying the board, it's easiest to carry it using the centre straps with your arm over the top, so something like this, and you've got the most control over it when you're carrying it. The wind will try and blow it, so you can also carry it like a kayak in pairs, 2 people and 2 boats. When you come to put the leash on, it's an elasticated leash with Velcro, and it goes around your ankle, somewhere between your ankle and your knee, wherever it's comfortable to do so. Obviously I haven't got a buoyancy aid on the moment, we're on shore, but I will do very shortly when we go out. If the fins were on this board, I'd want it to be floating somewhere about knee height, knee depth, so that when you get on, the back skeg fin doesn't hit the floor. When we get on, to start with, it's easiest to kneel, and you're aiming to kneel about the centre of the board, either side of this strap. You can move your position forward or backwards depending how you're paddling. If it's a windy day and you're paddling towards the wind, the board will naturally blow from side to side, so it may be worth you moving your weight further forwards. Therefore there's less in front of you to get blown around. Likewise, if it's not very windy or you're going with the wind behind you, you can move yourself right to the back. That brings the front of the board out and therefore allows you to paddle a bit faster and manoeuvre the board more easily. It will spin. Okay, pause there a sec. Okay, with your paddle is in 3 parts. They'll normally stay together. This part here is adjustable. Open the clip so you can pull it up or down. When you start and you're kneeling down, it's probably easiest to have it all the way down. But as a rule, when you're actually paddling, it's normally about twice your height, 1.5 times your height. So I'm about 175 and I have it about 215, which is the longest it can go. You've got to allow for the fact that the paddle needs to be under the water when you're paddling. Unlike kayak paddles, you want the logo facing forward when you're paddling, and there is a slight curve on the handle, which again should be in line with the paddle for ease. Now I won't put the leash back on because we're on the shore, but I've just got onto the board in the position here, straddling the handle. When I go to stand up, the common golden rule is if you look forward, look down, you'll go down, you'll see it fall. So keep your eyes on the horizon, plant the paddle in the board as a little bit of help, a little bit of stability, and stand up. You want your legs close to or on these little metal rings. Your body will naturally try and fight the board, and that will end up with it wobbling. So what you need to do is bend your knees and allow the board to wobble without fighting it. Because naturally, if the board moves this way, you'll want to push down on it that way, and vice versa. You just end up wobbling more and more. So this is your neutral position. If anything comes, so you've got a bit of waves or you feel a bit unstable, come back to this neutral position anytime you need to support yourself. And then, as I say, if you do want to, moving forwards and backwards on the board, that's fine. Moving like that transfers all your weight to one side. Very difficult to do. It's far easier to put your paddle down and just hop back both footed like that. Right, that'll do for it on here, I think. So this is the back skeg. As you can see, it is quite long, so this way you need to be a little bit careful. It's relatively brittle as well. It comes with a screw and the main part itself. So what you need to do is turn the screw on about half a turn, slide this forwards into the track and leave it, slide the fin backwards into the track, line the 2 up, it's a bit difficult because it's a bit sandy, and then screw it in. Once it's in, before you tighten it, slide the fin to where you want it. golden rule is the further back, the less you can steer the board. The further forward, the more easy it is to steer the board. So if it's windy, move it back. If it's not very windy, move it forward. It's not overly windy today, so we'll keep it around about the middle, like so. Perfect. That'll do. Okay, so I'm out in the water now, and I've got the board deep enough that when I push down on the back fin is not going to hit the floor. So I've got a paddle in one hand, and I'm just going to kneel on the board. Just going to kneel on the board, like that. I'll show you the basic paddle moves from kneeling down, because that's how you'll start. If you imagine that the board is on a pivot below me, whatever I do on this side will turn the board that way. Whatever I do on this side will turn the board the other way. So, to go forward, I would do 1, 2, or 3 on each side, alternating as necessary. If I want to turn the board around, I can do what I'm about to do now, which is backwards on this side, turn it this way, forwards on this side, we'll do the same. So I can turn the board around really easily. In its own length, just by doing that. And the same would be the case the other way around. I can also reach across and pull the board like that. So, once we're actually standing up and once we start paddling, there are 3 elements to the actual paddle stroke. First one, and the most important thing, is your posture. So when I'm standing up, I aim for my knees to be slightly bent, but my core is straight. I don't want to be hunched over like this, because it becomes very unstable. So I'm looking forward, trying to keep my core engaged and my back straight. Good thing to practice now is just letting the board wobble and getting used to how much it wobbles. When we come to actually do a stroke paddle, the first thing is the entry. We want to avoid splashing as much as possible on a nice clean entry. So we almost stab the paddle in, leaning forward and bending our knees. The second part is the draw. We want to draw the paddle from there as far back as we want to. And the third part is the exit. And we want to again try and avoid doing this. This will kill any momentum we get. We want to lift our paddle out of the water to start again. So those 3 parts in normal time: entry, draw, out. Entry, draw, and out. Provided you can keep those 3 key things in time, then those are the basics of paddleboarding. As I say, if you need to go backwards, you can do. The same thing applies. Entry, draw, out. Entry, draw, out. And forwards again. Entry, draw, out. Okay. That's it. If you do find yourself having fallen in, there are 2 ways of getting on the board. The first and the easiest way is to put your paddle across the board, reach for the furthest strap, lift your body weight and kick your legs over the board, and then roll onto your front. Some people, particularly women, may find that quite difficult. So there is an alternative, and that is to come to the back of the board, put both hands on it, push the board down so you're straddling it. It's not overly glamorous, but it does work, and you can slide yourself off the board and back on. You can do the same at the front. Just be aware, these have got the GoPro mount, which is going to hurt if you do scrape yourself on it. So that's why we tend to go for the back. Okay, so Sibs is going to demonstrate in a second. So you can paddle while kneeling down first, nice and easy. That's it. And if you need to turn around, just try going backwards on that side. So push the paddle in towards me, that's it. There we go. And you can turn the board quite easily. Right, if I hold the board, do you want to have a go at standing? Feet further apart, knees bent, look forward, look straight at the horizon, that's it. Okay, Bend your knees more and let your, that's it, perfect. Let your legs absorb any motion that the board makes, that's it. At the moment you're going with the wind behind you, that's why it's really easy to paddle. So try turning round and paddling against the wind. So either go backwards on this side, that's it. Well saved. Very well saved. That's it, and then go forwards on this way, that's it. Try and push the blade a bit further in so you've got one hand on top of the paddle. That's it, that's it. There we go, looking good. Try and head back over to the sandbank if you can, so more on this side. That's it, more on this